me know when you're ready.
I'm recording. I feel your nervousness.
So we'll do this like you count 3, 2, 1. Is that how you want it?
It scared the shit out of me. Hey, I'm Frank Curzio, the guy in that video clip you just saw. Obviously, I'm still alive. And in 5 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what happened after the screen went black. It's pretty incredible, like something from a superhero movie. You'll probably be amazed by the way it works. More amazing is the amount of money you can make if you get on this device today. And let me tell you, this isn't a prototype of something from the far off future. This isn't some pie in the sky investment idea either. This product is already in production. It was used by cops in a real life altercation just recently. And I believe it's soon going to be in the hip of every cop in the country, probably the world. If you invest in this tiny company that makes this device, I think making 1,000% is not only possible, it's very likely. If you know me or my work, you know I don't make those kinds of predictions often. And there's usually a big if in front of it. Not this time. This time, I'm probably being conservative. Look, the last time we had a revolution in policing was back in the 90s. The invention of the modern taser. I actually analyzed that company shortly after it went public. Back then, less than 10% of police officers were using it. But I told my boss at the time, none other than Jim Cramer, this device and this company were going to be big. As you know, taser is now a household name. Every cop in America has one. For years, it's been the number one way to subdue a guy without beating him with a stick. And the stock, as I predicted, went through the roof. That's a 10,000% gain. The kind of gain that turns a $5,000 investment into nearly $500,000. But tasers have a huge flaw. An open secret no one really wanted to talk about until now. They're not always safe. Think about it. You're shooting 50,000 volts of electricity into someone. Most people don't know this, but since the company went public, more than 1,000 people have died after an altercation involving a taser, and hundreds of lawsuits have been filed against police departments as a result. Some people are even shot dead after being tased. Why? Because according to a 2016 LA Times report, tasers were able to subdue a suspect only half the time the LAPD used them. Cops are becoming more wary of using them. Even the company that makes them is distancing itself from the product. In 2017, after more than 20 years in the business, it changed its name from Taser to Axon. Something's got to give. We need something better. I believe this device is the answer. In fact, I believe this device will soon replace tasers as the number one tool for cops. But look, don't just take it from me. I talked to a number of the top cops in the country while investigating this story. They all said the same thing.
It was remarkable. I couldn't stop talking about it. I was on the phone with everyone. I called up my friend who was the deputy commissioner, police department. I called everybody. I called 60 Minutes. I called everybody. I says, please stop right now, because as fast as we could get this tool out there, we could save lives. There is an alternative for the police other than shooting somebody, and this is the alternative.
Chances are you heard of Bo. He has his own podcast. He's on TV a lot. They made a movie based on his life starring Stephen Baldwin. But most importantly, he's one of the most highly decorated detectives in NYPD history. So this is a guy that knows what he's talking about. This is Chief Don. He served as chief of police on 3 different police forces in his 30-plus year career. He rose up to the ranks, the International Associations of Chiefs of Police, and was president from 2016 to 2017. So he was like the chief of chiefs. You don't get to that position unless you're great at your job, unless you really know your stuff. Here's what he had to say to me when I sat down with him.
You know, at this point, where we sit today, this is something every law enforcement agency is going to need to have. It's not going to be an option of what maybe, maybe not. They're going to have to carry this device because policing calls for it, communities are going to call for it, and the leaders are going to have to step up and say, I believe.
Look, this is it right here. Yeah, this little thing looks like something Batman would carry around, right? Wait till you see how it works.
Do this like you count 3, 2, 1. Is that how you want it?
Wow, that was cool.
How do you feel?
That was cool.
Started you?
Yeah, it definitely started. The sound was pretty crazy.
I didn't hurt you, right?
No. So it's
Do you feel like you could
Don't pull, because I see it in the
Okay.
back. I don't want it to dig
So if I pull, what's going to happen?
It's going to dig into you.
It's going to dig into you.
It'll dig into you, so you can't. So even if you have it wrap it up around your feet, you can't really.
What was your first impulse after you heard the bang?
It scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
It does. It's scary. Even though I'm prepared, I'm like, yeah, you know. But even, you know, it does like it's a shock factor where it's like, which makes you stop like right away. Because even with the countdown, I love what he did. He goes and shot it before the
I saw
countdown.
you look down. You still jumped.
Oh yeah, I
know it's
jumped.
coming.
Oh, it's very loud, but it's wrapped up like I can't. And if I try to extend, I can't do it. Pretty incredible, right? As you can see, I was completely tied up, much like this. That's a Kevlar cord, the material they make bulletproof vest out of. As I pulled my arms, the cord only got tighter. No way I was reaching for a weapon or even throwing a punch. In fact, before you realize what happened, the cops are usually on you, taking you down. Look at this guy getting completely tripped up. Now, I could spend hours telling you all about why this could be one of the best investments in the world right now. I've been on top of this story for months. I met one-on-one with people behind this product, interviewed the key players involved, and obviously inspected the product with my own eyes. I could show you dozens of interview clips, testimonials from police chiefs and government officials from all over the country, write-ups from virtually every news organization on the planet. Instead, I'm going to cut right to the chase. I put all this information in a special report, and I want to give it to you for free. Now, I want to be clear. The company I'm talking about right now did not pay me a dime to cover their product or make this video. In fact, I never take money from any company ever to recommend their stock. My research is 100% independent. That's how I was brought up to do business. I think it's one of the reasons I've gained the reputation I have in this industry, an industry I've been a part of my entire life. I'm doing it for exactly two reasons. Number one, I'm a true believer. As soon as I started talking to the people involved, especially the people on the front lines, the officers who have to deal with life and death situations on a daily basis, I have to admit, I was moved. I realized it's a much bigger story than just a cool new gadget. I realized this was about saving lives. I honestly can't see this not becoming the number one tool of law enforcement in the world. When you compare it to everything else, it's a no-brainer. Today, right now, most people have no idea this device exists, but that won't be for long. Number two, I believe if you invest in this company today, you can make an absolute killing. I actually found out about this company from a friend of mine who's connected to the inventor. Fact is, I have high-placed friends all over the world, in every industry you can imagine. I made them over the course of my lifelong career in the financial industry. And for over 10 years, every single week, I've been hosting these insiders on my free podcast, Wall Street Unplugged. It's been ranked the number one financial podcast on iTunes over multiple rating cycles. It's been downloaded over 8 million times in over 100 countries. Just do a simple Google search, and you can see over 800 independent reviews. Even a legendary Jim Cramer, the guy who used to be my boss, confessed to me a few years ago that he gets amazing ideas for his show from listening to mine. I think that's pretty cool. And I'm proud to have been able to continue the legacy of my late father, who brought me into this business when I was still a kid. And a little over 2 years ago, I decided to spin off my podcast and my lifetime of experience analyzing stocks into my own full-fledged financial research company called Curzio Research. My one and only priority is to bring my connections, these kinds of stories, to the people who can benefit most. Not the already rich and well-connected, no. I'm talking about men and women like you, the individual investor. I know many of you aren't fortunate enough to get original ideas like this early on. Most of you hear about them later on in their growth cycles, like Lyft or Alibaba, where you could only get access into these names after they had multi-billion-dollar valuations. The company I'm talking about today doesn't have a billion-dollar valuation yet. It's still extremely small and almost completely unheard of. But I think very soon, it's going to be one of the biggest stories in the world. And I've covered a lot of big trends in my career, from the boom in oil and gas fracking to emergence of immunotherapy drugs, from pot stocks to cloud computing, from big data analytics to AI. I've flown around the world investigating these stories, sometimes landing in places that don't even have roads or any signs of human life. This story right here is, in my opinion, an absolute layup for investors. I honestly can't think of a single reason why this won't be a standard issue device for every single law officer in the world within the next 5 years. Why? Because it just makes sense. It's the right technology in the right place at the right time. But don't take my word for it.
I cannot imagine anyone in policing that after seeing this device would not start the point of doing a pilot project. That is unimaginable to me.
This company only listed on the NASDAQ in December 2018. It's still small, virtually unknown to the general public, and is only just now starting to gain traction. Think of it this way. Today, Axon, the company that makes tasers, enjoys a virtual monopoly. It holds 95% of the market share for stun guns worldwide, according to Forbes. And since going public, Axon shares are up over 10,000%. But you've seen it for yourself now. I don't think a single person who does could argue. This incredible new device could easily replace Taser as a number one tool for law enforcement officers. It's safer, it's more effective, it's just better. And here's the other thing. The market for this product isn't just here in the United States. It's in every country on earth, and not just for cops.
This thing has got legs, and it's just obviously not just domestically. This is an international product. There's not any one place that doesn't have security issues. It's around the world, and it's consumer, it's law enforcement, it's military. It's endless.
If you go in China, you don't have any of the cops are not armed. What a great piece of equipment. And how many will we need in China? A lot of people. Like you go to London, you go to countries where cops are not armed. They're walking around their little billy clubs. Just think about having this piece of equipment, a person deranged with a knife, they don't have to shoot them, and they'll be able to take that person down.
We've got the SEALs coming to us. We've got different countries coming to us. We've got anywhere from departments of 5 people to 100,000 people in different countries. So you're talking about a major movement.
Just how much do people in the industry believe in it? Well, the co-founder of Taser recently signed on as the president of this tiny company and went on air saying he plans to use the exact same rollout strategy. Let me say that again. The man who co-founded Taser and took it from nothing to a virtual monopoly is now spearheading the same campaign for this new device. I don't know if you can get a better endorsement than that. Right now, these devices sell for about $800. There are a little over 12 million cops in the world. You could do the math. We're talking about potential sales in the billions of dollars. If even just a tiny fraction of those cops end up using this device, it could mean hundreds, if not thousands of percent gains for the stock. Again, I tell you everything you need to know in my free special report. The name of the company, the name of the device, the major players involved, my breakdown of the numbers, the full story, including what you absolutely must do before you invest. When you read it, you'll be much better positioned, and I think you'll see exactly why I believe you can make a small fortune on this stock if you get in right away. I mentioned it earlier. I started my own financial research firm a couple of years ago called Curzio Research. My flagship publication is called Curzio Research Advisory. If you like the full details on this opportunity, all you have to do is sign up for a risk-free trial. I normally charge $199 a year for this service, but today, through this special offer, you can try it for just $49. That's 75% off from what I normally charge. And again, you could try it absolutely risk-free. Sign up, take a look at my special report. You'll have 30 days to decide if the membership is right for you. And during those 30 days, you can look at every stock I recommended in my newsletter since inception. Go through every report. Take a look at my track record. When you do, you'll see how much work I put into my research, into every single recommendation. And you'll be hard-pressed to find research like this anywhere within our industry. So if you think my research is right for you, great. You won't have to do a thing. You'll get at least one new report from me every month for the next year, covering the biggest investment opportunities in the world. If not, simply call my customer service team before your 30-day trial is up, and I'll refund every penny you paid, no questions asked. And you could even keep the report, my compliments. As a new subscriber, you'll also have immediate access to some special bonuses I think you'll find very valuable. You can find the full details of this risk-free offer on the next page. Just click the link below.